The Witch is a horror period piece directed by Robert Eggers and follows a Puritan family that has been exiled from their village, and is a story of how the family copes with being all alone, because Puritans lived in communities, and that is how they, well, at least that's how they thought that they were going to stay protected, because witches aren't just going to randomly show up into the village and kill them all. Um, so they thought that living clustered together, they would feel more secure. So the fact that this family gets exiled for their radical beliefs, so they have to deal with everything on their own. They have a farm, they have 5 kids. Slowly, as they're adjusting to the life on this farm, things start to happen, and they just dismiss it instead of jumping to the obvious idea that, oh, it's a witch. They put it off, and they're like, you know what, it's probably just an animal. um, so as the movie progresses, more strange things start happening, and that's when the family starts questioning one another, to the point where the family becomes conflicted with whether or not there is a presence of a witch in their home. Why are all these things happening to them? So I'm going to say The Witch is a really original, creative film that, um, it's not a cliche horror film. It doesn't do the classic jump scares. It takes time and builds up. It tries to get your suspense. Um, there's a lot of symbolism in the movie that gives you clues into what might happen in the film. Like, for instance, the animals. The animals aren't just animals. They are meant for something else. They do symbolize something. And when we see that rabbit in that one scene, and then they show the same rabbit like 2 more times throughout the movie, that's when you start picking up things and thinking, okay, there's more to these animals. They clearly symbolize something. And we certainly see that with anyone who's seen the film. The goat, the hare, the rabbit, all these animals that we do see, they aren't just there because we don't see really any wildlife. Other, there's a forest, but we don't really see a whole lot of wildlife. But we keep cutting to that, to 2 specific animals. Um, they are there to symbolize something. This film is creative, it is smart with the way it portrays certain characters. It makes sure not to show too much and tries to build up the suspense to so you try and guess throughout the whole movie what's gonna happen, how is this gonna shape up. So on that level, I think the film did a very good job, um, building up the movie. What I will say, the film itself might not be for everyone. Generally, as a horror film, people are going to assume that they want it to be scary. I don't think that this is a movie that's going to necessarily be scary. I mean, people have said that this movie was creepy. Um, it certainly got a little bit of creepiness to it. It's eerie, it's dark, but I don't think it didn't creep me out. Like, I didn't go outside and think, oh my god, and be afraid to go outside because it was, that creepy. It wasn't, because I don't know. I've seen other movies like The Crucible, The Village, so I already kind of had an understanding of the Puritans. Plus, I've read up on some things about the Salem witch trials and everything. So I was already aware of many of the things that were going on during the 1630s. But then there's another TV series on the WGN America, which I've reviewed on my channel. Now that show is the definition of creepy. So the fact that I saw that TV series before I saw this movie, it kind of just took away from this movie, because I wasn't really impressed by anything here. Like, the really creepy scenes that we get in here, like, are just, I'm not impressed because I've already seen similar things like that. Like in the TV series Salem, there is a witch named Mary who makes her husband, who is the mayor of the town, conveniently, she makes him swallow a living frog to shut him up, to take control over the town. Whereas here, we didn't really get a whole lot of it. We did have that one scene with the crow and the mother. I thought that was really creepy. I was like, where are they going with this? There were moments whenever we cut to those naked witches killing something. Um, Certainly, it's very weird, but otherwise there wasn't a whole lot of it. I wish we would get more of this weird, like crazy things going on in this movie. Unfortunately, we didn't. The other thing I thought that was hurt in this movie was was the dialogue. Now, I will say the dialogue was both good and bad. I mean, the movie is in all the dialogue is actually used from the witch folklore, and it's in Old English. So I thought that was really good that they stayed true to try to make you feel like immersed in this Puritan life and as if you were right there watching, right there living with this family and just seeing what they're going through. I thought that was very creative. It was a good idea. I think that definitely helps to the style of the film. But on the other hand, I don't know why. There's a lot of times when they're speaking Old English, especially the children, a lot of words get like muffled or I don't know if they're mumbling or something, but like you don't hear everything that they're saying. Like I would miss a couple of words here and there, and I would be thinking, what did he just say? So there were definitely times where I don't know, the volume was either the speakers in the movie theater just weren't loud enough, or just I don't know. Maybe they were having mic problems on set. I don't know. I was just not picking up certain words. I mean, if they had some subtitles going, it might have helped out. But otherwise, I thought the Old English thing was a good idea, had I heard everything, of course. So in terms of how the style of the movie, how it is shot, I think it's really good. In terms of plot wise, there was not much to the story. I mean, a family moves out. They're having problems growing crops. Things are happening to the family. You know, they start accusing one another. They're trying to put the whole witch thing aside because they don't want to start panicking and they just want to put everything aside and as if put all their problems aside. They've had enough problems. So they don't want to jump to conclusions and assume that it's a witch. So while a creative idea for a movie, I thought there wasn't a whole lot going on in the movie. It's really slow paced. People might turn away from that. And the one thing I wish the ending was a little bit different. There's that the final scene. There's a Thomasine, the eldest daughter, is confronting her mother. I really wish that instead of that last scene we had with the mother, they should have replaced it with the father, because I think the daughter had more connection with their father. Because no one really cares about the mother in this movie because she despises the eldest daughter. The father, at least, he cares for his daughter. I mean, there's that one moment in the movie where he comes up to her and she's crying. He sits beside her and he tries to comfort her. So there's more emotional connection between her and her father. So I thought that the ending might have been more emotional if it was her confronting her father instead of her mother. It might have made things more interesting, and we might have had some more violence then. So I thought that might have been better. But otherwise, I think this film, people have been definitely giving this movie too much of a heads up. Have been a little bit too kind to this movie. I mean, certainly maybe if people who haven't seen this type of film before, they might be just impressed by it. Just in utter shock because they've never seen something like this, and it's creative. But otherwise, once we get to the end, I really think that they really just gave up on the ending there. I was expecting something more out of it, especially since I've already seen things similar to this. But like I said, I think they build up the suspense, or at least try to, movie. But in terms of the actual substance, we don't really get a whole lot. I know the movie's an hour and 30 minutes long, but it feels so short. There's a lot of pauses throughout the movie, and times where we don't even have dialogue. And so it makes the movie even more shorter because we'll have like random shots of the wilderness or just really random scenes that, I mean, they do contribute to the movie, but they don't contribute that much to the film. And some things definitely, I think, should have been cut out, but nonetheless, it's a pretty decent movie. I can't say that it's a must-see movie, but it's definitely one of the better films of February. This movie's a little overrated. I mean, people might have just gotten overexcited that, it's February and we have an actually decent horror film. And really, February, we really don't have a whole lot of good movies. For a February horror film, I think this is a pretty good movie. So with that being said, I'm going to give The Witch a C+. Visually, The Witch is pretty good, and the acting for the most part is pretty good. Especially the father. I think the father has such a deep voice in this movie. Oh my gosh. Alright guys, that is my review of The Witch. Have you seen this movie? Are you gonna go see it? Comment that below. What were your thoughts on this movie? Just mention that in the comment section down below. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel for more content. And as always, I'll see you next time for more unboxings, reviews, and movie news.